us into the summer blockbuster film with Top Gun Maverick. It is a time to be alive for the season of movies. This is where the fun really begins, and I can't really consider a better film to talk about starting this season off than with Maverick. And I could honestly just say it's a Tom Cruise film, and that could be all the plot that you can know. But realistically, I think considering that the first film that was released in the 80s is a lot more of a 80s muscular, oiled up, body, masculine, macho, very cheesy movie, Tom Cruise and everyone involved with the making of this sequel that they've been crafting for decades knew they had to do something different. And this film actually has a story. So Top Gun Maverick follows Pete Maverick Mitchell 40 years after the events of the first Top Gun, when he is recruited to teach the next great pilots of the Top Gun program to go up against one of the most harrowing, dangerous expeditions that anyone could ever go through. And that's really it on the surface. I was going into this movie being not so much of a fan of the original. I commend it. It's an 80s film through and through, cheese and all. My dad is a massive fan of the OG, and I was excited for this primarily because of the star power on and off the camera. And it's the middle of May. I'm gearing up for the summer, and I got everything I could have asked for and then some. This has got to be one of the most precision-filled, expertly executed films on a scale like this we have ever gotten, not just for action, not just for blockbusters, but for Tom Cruise's career. And that is saying something, considering he has been pumping out some of the most creatively driven, uniquely balls-to-the-wall, insane thrillers that we have gotten in the past 5 years. He is a man of practical stunts, and I don't think where else to better start this review off than by talking about Tom Cruise's influence. When I heard that he helped all of the cast and crew, really, because the crew had to know where they wanted the pilots and the jets to go through flight school training rigorously, extensively for weeks on end. He would sign them up for flight school, hand everyone iPads that had manuals and data, all gearing them for doing their own stunts. But not only that, he taught them film theory, how to cast in light within the jet, because really, if you think about it, everyone has these cameras on jets practically. This is not something done cheaply or within a green screen. This is legit, and they have to learn where to turn the jet and maneuver to cast in light, to show the background, to show their emotion. And Tom Cruise was there for it every step of the way. If that doesn't get you hooked to watch this movie, I don't know what will. And I think it really understands that this is a film 40 years after its original, and it has to prove its point. It has to make itself known. And that's the thing that I always look for within sequels, especially ones that are following films that have come out decades before. Justify your existence. And with Top Gun Maverick, we are seeing Tom Cruise in a way with a level of depth and emotion and vulnerability that I really don't think we've ever seen from him in a very long time, let alone a massive blockbuster. He brings his A game to this film, not just within the stunts and the choreography and helping all the other cast and crew, but within himself. We follow a man that has a lot of demons, regret, and it deals with meeting those things head on, flying at it one-on-one collision, and he doesn't accept it at first. And it really does also come down to the script, where it deals with all of these new characters, this crew that you have to get indoctrinated into and familiar with. And one of the biggest things that kind of flabbergasted me was how we never get the locker room scene, whereas in the first Top Gun film there was all these characters, but they were kind of nameless to me. And there was like these locker room sequences where these guys are all laughing, and you really have moments like that, but they're kind of airy and serve no purpose. Whereas within this film, not only do we get to be familiar and understanding and even like most of the new characters, but it's through their training and being caught up in the action, and that is just genius writing there. And most notably, I want to talk about Miles Teller, because geez Louise, I've loved Miles Teller for so long, and I feel like Hollywood has kind of given him the shaft. I mean, he was going to be Reed Richards in a great Fantastic son in the film, Tom Cruise really has to deal with that relationship of confronting the son of a father that he feels guilty that his death came onto his hands. And that leaves an element of this film that I was not expecting, but I want to talk about one actor as well. Glenn Powell as Hangman. I think this guy should be in everything. His charisma, charm, build, atmosphere, and aura in every movie he's in serves as a big point for why he should be in every Hollywood film, but he isn't. Like, I want to grab Hollywood in the studios by the neck and be like, guys, get this guy in everything. Glenn Powell's amazing. And this movie really makes everybody elevated. And truthfully, this is massive considering Top Gun is a film that really doesn't serve much weight into my heart. I enjoy it, but when the dogfighting sequences are happening, I can't tell you who's from what, and even if I did and I saw those characters, I wouldn't even know their names, aside from Maverick and even Iceman. There isn't too much that I care about with those characters, but in this, the way that it's filmed, the way that it's executed and written, it prioritizes putting the emotional weight and putting you within the cockpit of these jets with the characters, because it takes the narrative of these individuals first and then the action. But I cannot undermine the action, the way that Joseph Kosinski and his DP friend Claudia Miranda shoot and handle this film, bringing particular note to focus pulling, where a lot of the depth of field from where you see characters in the forefront and the backgrounds are blurred out, or vice versa. It's genius. I think every shot was handled with such precision and care. Joseph Kosinski really helms the director's chair in full ferocity. I've loved this man ever since I saw Tron Legacy back in 2010, and he did another Tom Cruise film with Oblivion, but it makes sense that this man really got his career starting within computer-generated images and VFX because it looks amazing. This movie, as practical as it is, seamlessly intertwines CGI and practical effects so well with an emotional core to itself, giving Tom Cruise weight and atmosphere to breathe in a performance that really shouldn't exist, a movie that shouldn't exist, but it's because everyone involved cared so much. The pandemic pushed this baby back. It was originally No Time to Die that got the biggest shaft because of the pandemic, but this film was supposed to come out 2 years ago, and I can safely say it is well worth the wait. My only real issue the first time I saw this was the relationship between Cruise's character and Jennifer Connelly's, but then I saw it a second time, and it does something that was very rare for me within any movie, especially a sequel, where you have two characters talking about a history primarily that we've never seen before. Jennifer Connelly's character was not in the original, but the way that they operate in the writing serves these characters as they speak on behalf of other characters and events that we've never seen, but their charisma and energy together and dynamic really serves to make you feel like you know those characters and those moments they're talking about, and it works. I love this film. There was moments that I cried, moments that I cheered, an opening scene and a third act finale that I can't think of any other Tom Cruise movie or a movie in recent memory where my fists were clenched. I wanted to scream from the rooftops and pound my fist, rub myself with baby oil, and learn how to fly a freaking jet. It was so great, and I loved it. It was a beautiful jump start to kick this summer season off with action, energy, love, care, and just a general understanding that this sequel had to go for broke, and it went. And I honestly think it's one of the best sequels there is. Not my favorite. I honestly think Fallout is a better Tom Cruise film with a better third act. However, the third act of this film is a lot more emotionally potent and resonant, and it really comes down to the characters and the dynamics. But I really want to hear from you guys because I love this film with action that is bar none some of the best you'll ever see, direction and camera work with actors that are at the A games in their career. I gotta give Top Gun Maverick an A. Upon maybe rewatching it, which I fully plan to do for a third time, it might bump up to an A+, but given the fact that this is coming from a film originally made in the 80s that I would maybe give like a C to, this is speaking volumes. It should not be this good, but it is. It is handled so well, and you can understand every player in the game because of how well it's filmed and shot versus the other film, which is kind of janky, messy, and very 80s. But I love this film. Let me know what you thought down below. Tell me, what is your favorite sequel? I I love what Hollywood is doing with Lego sequels, which is reflecting on the past, and it's great. I cannot wait to tell you what more movies are going to be coming out this summer and how I feel. Stay tuned for some big projects coming soon. I love y'all very much, and remember to take life one frame at a time.